Welcome to TV Africa News. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Luima. The National Unit Platform flag bearer in the recently concluded presidential elections, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, aka Bobi Wine, has filed a presidential election petition at Supreme Court today, challenging the presidential results, which handed victory to incumbent Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. We have more on this story.
President Yoweri Museveni, a former guerrilla leader who has led the East African country since 1986, was declared leader of the January 14th election with 59% of the vote, while Bobi Wine was given 35%. The new party president, who was also a presidential candidate, rejected the results and said he believed his victory was stolen. Today, the new party lawyers, led by Medard Lubega Segona, filed a petition in the Supreme Court against Mr. Museveni, the Electoral Commission, and the Attorney General. In his remarks after filing a petition, Segona said they have all evidence against the three parties and the process of collecting evidence is ongoing.
Electoral Commission, the suspects must also be given time to file their response. We are also continuing to collect evidence from across the country. We may continue in hiding the same way we've been doing because we know they've been looking for these papers.
As a senior legal counsel, Segona believes that taking court action is the only way to liberate the country and bring back their victory. MP Segona said there was outright ballot stuffing, intimidation of NUP agents and supporters, and some were arrested on the eve of the election, and there was pre-ticking of ballots.
It is part of our liberation struggle and it's part of our democratization process. As you all are aware, we witnessed so many challenges in these elections. Country, polling stations where soldiers would come and invade polling stations, where they would come with pre-ticked ballots, where they would come and pick ballot papers, tick and then stuff into the box. You must have witnessed the inflation of the register. You saw how Museveni's votes were inflated. You saw how the entire electoral process turned into a war situation, a situation of terror.
He, however, demonstrated the hardships NUP as a party has gone through in gathering evidence, including arresting their people and torture.
President under house arrest to avoid him signing this petition. For us to be able to get him out to sign this petition, we had to go to court, as you are aware. Immediately after the election, as we were collecting our declaration of results forms from across the country, they were arresting, torturing and beating our coordinators wherever they would find them with DRA forms.
Uganda's judiciary has over the years drawn criticism from the political opposition and some human rights activists for alleged partisan rulings in high-profile political cases. Challenges to the results of all the 4 previous elections won by Museveni have been dismissed by the Supreme Court. In the rulings, most judges acknowledged the elections were marred by irregularities, but said those irregularities could not have affected the election's ultimate result in a substantial manner.
Moving on, the Forum for Democratic Change Party has asked government to continue sensitizing students about measures that were put in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19 before they return to school. Let's take a look.
Speaking to journalists at their party headquarters in Najjanankumbi, the party spokesperson, Deus Chikonyogo, blames government for being reluctant on COVID-19.
As FDC, we are very much concerned that this disease of this pandemic is with us. It's not going tomorrow, but the government is not coming out to tell Ugandans how we are going to live with it as our children are going to school at the same time. The public awareness on how we are supposed to handle ourselves as far as SOPs is concerned is no longer taken serious by the ministry. They were busy using it during campaigns as a way of stopping opposition leaders from campaigning, as opposed to using it to protect our citizens from health issues associated with it. When you ask them when they are going to reopen schools, they tell you 3 months, we are going to discuss. Nobody takes it serious. Maybe because some of their children can access the internet, they can study using the e-learning. But majority of Ugandans cannot afford, majority of the students, even they don't know how to use a phone. The radios which are promised, nobody has ever seen one of them. So as FDC, we ask government to act very fast on this issue.
Chikonyogo wants government to reopen schools as soon as possible before the students give up on education.
The Minister of Health should have been now everywhere trying to remind our children what they are going to do when they go to school. There should be programs doing that now. So that at least you prepare them psychologically that you are going back to school. This is what you are supposed to be doing. Because sitting at home for a whole year, you know what it means, all of you who went to school one time. Remember when you go for third term, by the time you go back in January, it's a hard time to start again studying. Just 1 month, but now a whole year. And even the parents who had just paid their school fees, and the term was cut short. Now they have paid again for their students to go to university. Government is stopping it without any solid reason.
He appealed to government to make a checklist of all teachers who left their jobs and make replacements as soon as possible.
The teachers who are doing the work of teaching our children, a good number of them have moved on. Does the government know how many teachers are willing to come back to schools as we talk today? That should have been the work they are doing. How many teachers are willing to come back? How many teachers have moved on, and we need to recruit new teachers as quickly as possible. A serious government should have been doing that so that our children don't lose. They have already lost a year, and we don't want them to lose more time without going to school.
In our business news today, in May 2020, a bill was adopted to change the CFA franc to the ECO and the centralization of foreign exchange reserves of the West African states with the French Treasury. But since the agreement was reached between the French government and 8 countries in West Africa, no official plan has come to fruition to this day. Let's have more on this story.
Some say the creation of this common currency for all ECOWAS states was purely political, used to silence those who called for the end of one of the last remnants of the French colonial era. The Ivorian economist Yusuf Karias, founder and director of investment group Pulsar Partners, tells us why the ECO has yet to kick off. From the Libyan dinar to the Tunisian or even Moroccan currencies and the Malagasy Ariare to Zambia's and Malawi's kwacha, which one do experts say is the strongest currency in Africa and which allows its country to import at a lower cost and which has favorable exchange rates. In Johannesburg, bar managers who are suffering huge losses due to South Africa's ban on alcohol sales to reduce the spread of COVID-19. In Johannesburg, bar managers are suffering huge losses due to South Africa's ban on alcohol sales to reduce the spread of COVID-19.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back.
Africa.
Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. Now, in our health news today, after an almost 10-month break from classes, the initial joy of going back to school for many students in Ghana has since turned into a nightmare as far-reaching impact of COVID-19 pandemic has put over 222 private schools out of business as economic challenges laid by many proprietors to convert their facilities into residential apartments, hostels and guest houses, leaving over 40,000 students and 3,496 teachers in academic limbo. Let's have more on this story.
An added complication to an already complex situation in Ghana's still developing education infrastructure. Statistics from the Ghanaian Education Service show that private schools make up 49% of education establishments and 33% of all enrollments at the pre-tertiary level in the country. However, they can often be inaccessible to low-income earning households, and the coronavirus health crisis has only made things even more financially challenging. Emmanuel Odurodako, the proprietor of the ASMAG International School, explains how many in the sector have been coping with the pandemic's effects. Private schools in Ghana are believed to both offer intangible benefits that go beyond mere academics and to be critical for national growth. But perhaps the most concerning element in the recent play of events is that for some communities, these schools are the only educational facilities available within proximity, leaving an academic void. Just as everywhere else in the world, the effects of the unprecedented coronavirus health crisis has left nations scrambling to respond to the consequential challenges within their borders. Ghanaian authorities will most likely have to respond to these emerging issues in the education sector, as minds of the country's budding youth are essential for Ghana's continued progress.
In our international news today, the Al-Shabaab militants have killed 5 people in Mogadishu, Somalia, including one retired army general in a hotel blast. Let's have more on this story.
On Sunday afternoon, as armed militants neared a checkpoint on the road leading to the international airport, an Al-Shabaab militant detonated explosives, causing panic in the area. Gunmen then stormed the Afrique Hotel, a popular meeting known in central Mogadishu, frequented by many officials, members of the security forces and community leaders. 5 people died in the attack, amongst which retired Army General Mohammed Noor Galal, a former defense minister known by many in Somalia as a war hero. 3 militants were killed as security forces arrived on the scene, with a 4th dying in the initial detonation. The attack comes at a crucial time for Somalia, as the country was scheduled to hold indirect parliamentary presidential elections before February 8th. But with political agreements, meanwhile, two regions won't take part in the vote. Political instability may once again worsen in Somalia.
Still, in international, delegates will have until Friday to choose a new prime minister and a presidential council in Libya. It will be a decisive week for those who wish for long-lasting peace. Let's have more on this story.
Participants in the UN-sponsored inter-Libyan dialogue are meeting on Monday in order to choose a new prime minister and presidential council, a move that would help lead the transition in the conflict-ridden country, as many hope to see elections in the December 2021. The 75 Libyan delegates will have until Friday to choose from a list of 45 candidates, with the key political leaders from both the eastern and western authorities that have fought for power for years, but also from the south of the country. Since November 2020, a dialogue has been held in neighboring Tunisia to try to end the bloodshed that followed the fall of Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. With the UN-backed government of the National Unity and the Tobruk Parliament supporting General Khalifa Haftar agreeing to a ceasefire in the October, Libya has never been closer to finding peace since the Arab Spring.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back.
Consciously, the change brought about by the African National Congress is not a domination of our neighbors. We are there to bring about equality. We want stability within the region. And that stability will be done not by domination of any form, but equality and competition on the spheres of economy. The leadership of the ANC over decades was based on collective leadership. And any of the present members of the National Executive can take a lead and be successful. I take into account the fact that people can never be equal. Mandela has got a universal approach which is today accepted the world over. To reach that position isn't going to be easy. But it's not the other way around. It doesn't mean to say that because you no longer have Mandela, then that chaos will follow in the country. That's not correct. That's not the nature of the leadership we've developed over years.
Born in Agribo area of Transkei on 18th May 1912, the same year the forerunner of the ANC was formed, Sisulu's father was a visiting white foreman supervising a black road gang, and his mother was a local Xhosa woman. Sisulu was raised by his mother and uncle, the local headman. Walter Sisulu's mixed heritage and lighter skin was influential in his early social development. He felt distance from his peers and rejected the differential attitudes his family showed towards South Africa's white administration. Sisulu attended the local Anglican Missionary Institute, but dropped out after 4th grade in 1927 at the age of 15 to find work at a Johannesburg dairy to help support his family. He returned to the Transkei later that year to attend the Xhosa initiation ceremony and achieve adult status. Walter Sisulu was a South African anti-apartheid activist, member of the African National Congress, and one of the foremost influences in South African politics. In 1944, along with Oliver Tambo and Nelson Mandela, he joined the ANC Youth League, founded by Anthony Lamberti, initially becoming the treasurer. Throughout his political career, he fought against black-on-black violence between ANC and IFP. In 1964, he was sentenced to life and imprisoned on Robben Island alongside Nelson Mandela. He spent 26 years in jail and was released in 1989 at the age of 77. He campaigned in the first true multiracial elections in South Africa in 1994 and saw his dream of black majority rule fulfilled. He retired after the election, though he kept an office at ANC headquarters where he would drop in from time to time. He was also known for his doting marriage to Albertina Sisulu, a fellow freedom fighter. Walter Sisulu received a special state funeral on 17th May 2003.
Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News at the Right to Know. Now in our sports news today, a group of 34 Uganda hippos, including players, have to travel to Tanzania today for the AFCON Under-20 mini tournament. The team will depart Entebbe International Airport at 8 a.m. boarded Uganda Airlines. Let's have more.
18 players that were part of the Sekafa zonal qualifiers have retained their places on the team, while Sam Senyonjo of KCCA-FC, Derek Akoza, Police FC, Davis Sekaja, Soltilo Bright Stars FC, Andrew Kawoya, KCCA-FC, goalkeeper Delton Oyo, Busoga United FC, Simon Baligea, Chibuli SS, and Ivan Eyam, Mbara City, are the new faces that missed the qualifiers but have managed to break through again.
Dar es Salaam, and we are putting up in the Tiffany Diamond Hotel, and so far the reception was good, and we are going to have the first training, and we believe that the team we have moved with is one of the best teams, and I promise our people at home that we shall produce results.
The team will play against Tanzania at Namibia in the mini tournament from 2nd to 9th January, before flying to Mauritania for the AFCON Under-20 finals. Uganda Hippos is in Group A and will play against Mozambique in the first match on 15th February 2021. The second match will be on 17th February against Cameroon before going head-to-head with the hosts Mauritania in the last group match on 20th February 2021. The players who travelled include 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 9 midfielders, and 6 strikers with a technical staff.
That was the news. Thank you for always tuning in to TV Africa. Stay tuned, more programming coming your way.
This is Africa, and that was the news.